to a sunset, I'm feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it's the best way to survive. Woke up in the morning, sleepy eyes yawning. Jumped out of bed, started the day, opened the curtains. Felt the cool breeze, the sun shining on my face. But something was missing, I needed my job to chase. Give me coffee in the morning, give me coffee in the morning. Gotta have the coffee, wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on pussy. 1 sip, 2 sips, and I'm feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it's the best way to survive. Felt the cool breeze, the sun shining on my face. But something was missing, I needed my job to chase. Give me coffee in the morning, give me coffee in the morning. Gotta have the coffee, wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on pussy. 1 sip, 2 sips, and I'm feeling so alive. Give me coffee in the morning, gotta have the coffee, wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on pussy. 1 sip, 2 sips, and I'm feeling so alive.
Good morning, YouTube land. How are we doing this morning? Gonna give it a few minutes and see if anybody comes in. I'm streaming the Lori Daybell final pretrial hearing. Joe is there. He's given me an update. They were getting set up a few minutes ago to broadcast the hearing, and I wanted to jump on and bring it to you live since we've been trying to cover this and get the next. This is, like I said, this will be the final one, so it'll be interesting to see what happens today and what the outcome will be. Yeah, so we'll have some things to go over with that. Sorry, I was checking on something real quick. I'm keeping an eye on the for when the hearing starts, because it should be starting soon. Uh-oh. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Y'all can tell I'm not quite awake this morning. Okay, refresh. It has not started yet. I hope this is broadcasting live. If anybody's watching, type in chat. Let me know that you can at least see me, please. My mods are busy today. I don't even know if I'll have one in here, so I'll be keeping up with everything as best I can. But I need a sound check, visual check, if anybody's out there watching. If not, that's okay too. Okay, guys, I'm still refreshing it. It hasn't come up yet. There was a couple of things I was going to present before the the hearing. Thank you, 857. Good morning. There was a couple of things I was going to present before the hearing if we had time, but I wasn't able to get on here in time. So I don't know if we're going to have, I don't want to get into something and then have to stop it too, because the hearing has started. It should be getting underway shortly. Thanks for joining us, 857. I don't know how many we'll have in here this morning, but even, some people like to lurk and just watch, and that's cool as well. But I just wanted to bring the trial out there for you. I mean, the hearing, I keep saying trial, but like I said, Joe is there in the courtroom this morning. He texted me earlier, not long ago, and they were getting set up with the camera and all that, ready to roll. So we'll see how much longer it takes them. Looks like there's something happening now. So let me pull up my screen. Let me get this going. And we'll share screen and you guys can see. Now I'm actually watching this on, it looks like Fox 10 out of Phoenix. And it hasn't started yet, but it's starting soon, it says. For those watching and listening, I don't think I went live yesterday. I've been doing some soul searching and some thinking about the channel and what I want to do moving forward. Different ways I'm going to handle certain things and different cases I'm going to be presenting to you guys. I'm working on a couple of things unrelated to Delphi or Idaho 4 or anything like that, because as a true crime channel, I want to cover a lot of different things, not just one or two things. And of course, I'm going to cover what's I will continue to cover Idaho 4. There's a lot there to cover, but I also want to cover based on investigation stuff. So I'm taking deep dives into that, looking at stuff that I want to present to you guys for conversations about the case. I just got a message from Joe. Let me check and see what it says. All right, a little exclusive here. They were talking about keeping her trial in that small courtroom, and there was a lot of talk about that in the court filing, about how the camera could be positioned and all this good stuff. Well, Joe just says they are going to move the trial to the larger courtroom. Now, part of this morning's hearing, from what Joe explained to me, a part of this would be closed this morning. They were doing some stuff with Lori, like taking photos of her and fingerprinting and all. Like, I thought that stuff was already done, but I'm a little confused on that. But so apparently some of this would have been a closed hearing, then they're going to move into an open hearing. That was my understanding. So I guess he learned during this part of the hearing that they would be moving to the larger courtroom, which makes perfect sense, right? For a high profile trial. You're probably going to have a lot of people trying to get into that trial, especially media and things of that nature. And we did find out the judge did approve for the trial to be streamed. And I'm assuming that is with that fixed camera situation. I think that's what the document said. Joe's got the latest documents. He's been keeping up with those for us. And let me clarify something before this starts. I know there was a lot of talk and controversy wrapped up in that Idaho 4 911 call. I never believed it was fake. I never believed it was leaked. So when the information started coming out, I reached out to Joe, because Joe does a lot of FOIA requests, and they're not that hard. They're really not. Joe submitted a FOIA request for the 911 call because we wanted to see and make sure this was like legit. Like, this wasn't just some shit people were making up on the internet and, leaking things or whatever. He put the request in, and I think 2 days later he got that request honored. So yeah, you can absolutely put in the FOIA request and legally obtain the 911 call. And that is the only reason why we did it, was just to see, because we don't like to take everybody else's word for it. So we tried it for ourselves, and yeah, lo and behold, there it was within 2 days. And the process was pretty easy because Joe had the correct information to give for the FOIA request. We made sure we had the correct information needed to get the request in and get it honored, and it was. And I don't know if Joe actually dropped that. I don't think he's dropped it on his channel yet. I think he did on he put it, so I don't know if he talked about it, so I don't know if he actually did yet, unless he's going to wait until he gets back later today. But yeah, y'all have heard the call. We've analyzed the call here. We've reviewed it and all that good stuff. But I just wanted to let you guys know that it is a legal FOIA request, and it was honored. So I wish everybody would just slow their roll on all that. Anything interesting been happening on your show 85 Tucson? I didn't listen in last night, so I don't know what y'all had going on over there. If you guys, I need to drop your link in the chat. Let me get to you. If you guys like to listen to things in the background while you're working, or because to me, I find this kind of stuff intriguing. I used to listen to my local scanner like all the time, and the stuff that here, I'm grabbing the link now. The stuff that 857 Tucson does is pretty cool. I listened to it the other night, and for quite a while actually, while I was working here at the desk. There's his link to his channel. You guys go check it out if you're interested in that kind of stuff. He listens to a lot of like the 911 calls in the area, dispatch, all that good stuff. And like I have a scanner here locally, and I listen to mine a lot too. So interesting stuff over there for sure. Let me refresh this page, guys. Make sure they haven't started without us. Nope, not yet. Let me see. Let me get back over here to this. Oops. Oh, I almost hit the wrong button. My child is supposed to be on his way over here to visit me. And it looks like he's... Oh, okay. I think he stopped to look at cars. I got him on Life 360 so I can see what he's doing. Yeah, he's moving along now. Good deal. I think he stopped to look at some cars. He's in the market to buy himself a car. How many of you guys actually watched Lori Vallow's trial in Idaho when she was convicted of the murder of her children? And how many of you watched Chad's trial? Did any of you watch either of those trials? I'd be interested to know. Nobody wants to talk today? Okay. We'll just wait for the thing to start. Let me see. Oh. I had the wrong thing. Sorry. Guys, I'm multitasking here at the same time. We just have some watchers and no chatters. And my mods are busy, so they're not here to chat it up with you guys either. But that's okay. They'll be here when they can be here. I'm just hitting refresh occasionally to make sure we're not, left out here. Because sometimes if you just leave it up, it won't just start playing automatically. You have to refresh it. I don't know if Court TV was covering this today or not. I didn't see anything on their page about it. I'm assuming that East Idaho News will be, because they usually do. Oops, sorry guys, I'm making noise in the background. Didn't mean to. Oh. Let me take this down for a minute and make sure I got it refreshed the correct way. Oh, come on back up here. Don't let it be one of those days. All right. Okay, I want to play you guys something while we wait. It's only like 5 minutes long. I don't think I've shared it here yet. Maybe, I can't recall. This is a recording of a phone call where Lori called the insurance company to lay claim to Charles Vallow's life insurance policy after his death. She was unaware at that point that Charles had already changed his beneficiary to his sister Kay. So let's play this while we're waiting. And I'll keep
Claims Department, this is Robin. May I have the policy number?
Sure. It is
Are you calling in reference to a death claim?
yes.
Okay, one moment, please. May I have the name of the insured?
L. Charles Vallow.
And who am I speaking with?
This is Lori Vallow.
And your relationship to the insured?
He's my husband.
Okay, one moment. Okay, ma'am, I'm just going to need to ask you a few questions so that I can open the claim, and then I can go over the claim procedure with you and answer any questions that you may have afterwards.
That would be great.
Okay, first of all, may I have your daytime phone number, please?
Sure. It's 2.
And what was the date of Mr. Vallow's passing?
July 11th.
And what was the cause of his passing?
Well, he was shot.
Okay.
So I don't know how I want to put that.
Okay. All right. And I hate to ask, but is it?
Yeah,
you can just say yes or no. Was it a homicide?
No, it was an accident.
An accident. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what state did he pass away in?
Arizona.
Okay. Okay. Just bear with me for one moment. I just need to pull up a few other things.
Okay.
Are you aware of who the primary beneficiary of the policy is?
It's me.
Okay. And may I have your, I'm sorry, one moment. My computer just went away for a second. Okay. And may I have your current mailing address?
Sure. It's 5531 South 4 FOUR Peaks PEAKS Place.
Okay.
In Chandler, Arizona. And it's 85249.
Okay, ma'am. That is all the information I need to open the claim. What we will do now is review the policy and the file to confirm the beneficiary information and determine the claim requirements that we will need to settle this particular claim. Once we have completed our review, we will prepare a claim packet to send to the named beneficiary once that has been confirmed. And the claim packet can either be mailed or emailed or faxed. How would you like to receive a correspondence?
Email would be great.
Okay, and what is your email address? .com. Okay. All right, so you should receive an email from our office within the next 3 to 5 business days or sooner. It will have the instructions listed. Once you receive the information, if you have any questions whatsoever, please don't hesitate to give our office a call. and then we can go from there. Okay, is there anything I can help you with at this time?
That's it, I think.
Okay, ma'am. Well, I'm very sorry for your loss. You take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Lord, that woman is so full of it. Now I am checking the chat, the stream from Fox 10 Phoenix, and the producer over there just said they were on a 30-minute delay for streaming today's hearing. So that is the holdup, as far as I can tell, that they are. We knew they had on a delay last time as well, because when Joe was there, and we were still streaming the hearing when Joe texted me and said, we're out of the hearing. I'm like, well, we're streaming it. And so we figured out there was a delay. And apparently that is the case for this morning as well. So we'll just have to be patient. It was odd to hear Lori try to describe how her husband died. I mean, it's just a little crazy. While we're waiting, I'll present this to you as well, just because this is a few things I just had grabbed to show you guys some of the backstory. This is Charles Vallow called the police, and let me see if I can figure the date out on this one. It was from 4 years ago, obviously, and it was with the Gilbert police officers that he interacted with after he failed to locate Lori at a hotel. So this was June 18, 2020. All right, let me get the screen up. And I'll keep an eye on the hearing as well while this is playing. If we need to take it down, we'll do that. Okay, here we go with that.
So is she in there?
What's going on? Why is she here and you're not here, or are you staying here with her?
Long story. She's had kind of a dreadful reality. She thinks she's ULD.
And I'm sorry, guys, everything is turned up as loud as it will go. It is just the audio on this body cam, so just bear with us.
Yes.
Yes.
She thinks she's married to Moroni in the past. This is her
You think she's what?
married to Moroni, the top of the temple.
Angel
Moroni.
LDS. Angel.
They don't let me in there.
Probation, and she knows when the second coming is happening next year, so does the prophet.
Okay.
He knows it, she knows about it. She meets with Moroni and Jesus Christ face to face in the temple every day. I've tried to support her as much as I could, but it's gotten really, really bad lately. She's had a break. She says, I'm Nick Schneider. I've taken over Charles's body, and Charles has been killed. I'm going to kill you. You're going to be murdered today or tomorrow. I can do it. I'm back there with my priesthood, with my power. She does priesthood blessings. She does.
So who's Nick Schneider? Okay.
That's who I'm supposed to do.
Okay. Right. Okay. So he's not at church. He's not.
She took my truck from the airport. Suspect she took my truck from the airport last night when I flew in. She canceled my flights. I had to buy another ticket to come back home. I've got a 6-year-old with special needs.
Right. And he's safe at school somewhere.
Right.
Okay.
For now. If she knows I'm here, she's going to go get it.
Okay. What car? What is she driving?
A black Infiniti QX80.
And you've looked all through the parking lots.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Do you have the license plate on that?
It's KDM 62 or 63 or 67. It's handicapped. Okay?
The pin. There it is.
And I don't know where she put my truck. She took $35,000 in cash out of our account yesterday. Payroll. I mean, I just never thought she would do anything like this, but she's just lost touch with me. I'm not me. She yells. She's unhinged. It's scaring the crap out of me.
Okay. Now, I'm assuming you guys have phones. Is that an iPhone?
Yes.
Are you able to track to see where her phone is right now?
Her
I
phone's
hear
right here with me.
iPhones.
Her phone's with me.
Oh, your phone. Now, how did you get her phone?
Because it was in the car this morning when she pulled up to school. I took the keys out of her purse out so she couldn't leave. That's when I called you guys.
Okay.
Somehow she has a pair of keys and left with my dog. And so I don't know where I saw this in her purse. So I think she's here. They were going to give me a key to the room. I was going to go, if you guys will come with me, see if she's in the room.
We can't just go in. If you're not allowed to go in, we can't either. We can
on
just.
that credit card she did the room.
Okay, that's going to be up to them if they allow you to go
Sure.
in. Now, we can't. Now, you guys are
You guys
married,
wait
so there
here?
shouldn't be. No, we're waiting for right now. What we're doing is my sergeant wanted to get some information from you. I was
Okay.
about to call you, but then Gary said you were here. We are just going to wait a second. My sergeant, they're on their way because we have a sergeant training. So they're going to be here. They have the paperwork. So if she is here, we knock on the door, she's here. That's why we need the paperwork in hand.
Okay.
Okay, so we can take her. So
Tell me
that's
again
why-
real quick.
That's why
What,
we're here. right
what's
now.
her first name?
Lori?
Lori.
L-O-R-I.
And tell me again about the vehicle. It's a black Infinity
Infinity QX80.
QX80.
2016. Yes, sir.
And
Still
try that
I'm
license
gonna
plate
go ahead and
again.
give them a call.
KDM
KDM
62. It's KDM something.
KDM 62,
Yeah,
63,
something like this.
67
Handicap plate.
handicap.
Yes.
Is it registered to you?
Yes.
Spell your last name again.
V is in Victor, A-L-L-O-W.
Vallo?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. That's an SUV that you're describing, right? Okay, I know what it is.
I'm going to go check and see if I can go in there, and I'll be right back. Okay, sir?
Okay. Also find out if they'll give you permission to go into that room.
Well, I guess she had a second set of car keys and she was able to leave the school. That's why Team 1 wasn't able to get a hold of her. So we're not sure if she's here or not. He's thinking that he would be able to get in the room. And I said, that's up to you and that's up to the hotel. That's not what we do. So I told him that we're waiting for you with the paperwork. And that's what we've got going on right now. He thinks she's still staying here just for the reason is that he was able to grab that key out of her purse in the car at that school in Central area, wherever that school was. All right. Okay. Yeah, I'll give you just what she's saying and the reason the 909 came out. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. We're gonna, you know, how about we all meet back at the car? We are on the north side of that Home 2, which is just west of this building. It's the building west. It's the other hotel. We'll all meet right there. All right, we'll see you in a minute. Bye. Okay, so if his truck is gone, how did he get here?
I have no idea. He didn't tell me that. By the way, I have that tour at 10 o'clock.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll go. He wants a sidebar before we do it. Where did he go?
He went back in to find out whether or not they'll give him permission to enter into that
Okay,
room.
tell him I don't want him going to that.
He's
He
not
told
going to
him
the
not
room.
go
He's
to the room.
just-
Okay.
He's
Let's
just
go back over to our cars. They'll be here in just a minute or two, and we need to do a powwow.
okay.
So,
Let me just, I'll meet you over there. I'm just going to
Yeah.
tell him, because he's gone to the lobby. I just want him to know he needs to wait around here
Now,
so we can find
the
him.
biggest
when
thing,
we
okay, so she wants to marry Moroni, which is great, fantastic, fine and dandy. That's not as bad as the
Are you
UFO
on?
thing. Yeah, I'm going to go off.
Me too.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, so apparently they were saying that this trial or the hearing, I don't know why I keep saying it that way, will be getting underway at 11:55 Eastern. I'm on Central, so that's like 5 minutes. Let me pull up the... Isn't that sad that Charles went, he contacted people trying to reach out for help, trying to tell them how Lori was, how she was acting, her behaviors, his concerns. And it's almost like, they believe you, but what are they going to do? I don't know if they're, what all that was about. I'm going to pull this screen back up. Seeing that Court TV is carrying it, but we're already over here with these guys, so we're just going to stick with them. Oops. Let me get this up here. It happened to my screen. All right. Why won't it? Oh, I gotta click it to share. I act like I don't know what I'm doing up here all of a sudden. Okay, these are, I guess, a couple of commentators from the local Fox station there.
Bytes of evidence we know in this case alone here in Arizona.
Good morning,
We've gotten
Dolphin.
a
Welcome
roadmap
in.
basically because of Lori Vallow Daybell's Idaho trial in 2023, where she was convicted of killing her children, J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan, and in the murder conspiracy in the death of Tammy Daybell, Chad Daybell's first wife. So there's a lot there. You've been following this, you know the people we're talking about, but this is going to be some key issues brought up today because of this hearing that's beginning right now, and we'll take you there live, streaming.
001704.
Your Honor, for the record, this Trini Kay on behalf of the state, and for the record, the next of kin and the victim in the 2022 matter are appearing virtually.
All right.
Good morning, Your Honor. Pamela Hicks and Robert Abernathy as advisory counsel for Ms. Daybell.
Go ahead and announce.
Lori Daybell.
All right, thank you. My courtroom assistant said there's some issue with advisory counsel at the table.
Yeah, I apologize, Your Honor. I didn't think about the logistics, so I'll just let Ms. Daybell.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to ask if I could have my investigator up here at the table, because if I needed to ask him something, then I need him available.
Yeah, any side can designate an investigator to sit with them through the trial and through court proceedings. So that you can have, if you can fit 3 chairs there, that's fine. Otherwise, advisory counsel could scoot her chair behind, whatever you think is logistically easier.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. I just received word literally 2 minutes ago that we will be using Judge Kemp's courtroom, and we can use it for the entire first trial, which is in the South Court Tower, which will give us more space as needed. Have the parties, I had my staff drop off the proposed questionnaire on your table this morning. I know you just got it this morning. You may need some time to read through it. That's my proposed questionnaire. Obviously, there's maybe a lot more questions that either side would like to ask the potential jurors in follow-up. So this is not limiting what would be asked ultimately to the jurors. In addition to this, the questions in this questionnaire, when the potential jurors come in, I always go over the burden of proof. I go over credibility of witnesses in a little more detail, especially as it pertains to how people perceive officer testimony, and some other areas I'll highlight. So I intend on asking more than just what's in this questionnaire, but this questionnaire is intended to get through some of the bigger issues, such as pretrial publicity or opinions people may have had, or exposure to the case people may have had, and then it has the questions where we may lose additional jurors on the trial schedule, and then victims of crime, views about police officer, and then if they've been charged or a close family members have been charged with a criminal offense, and to explain that. Any comments from the state?
Judge, in terms of publicity, I think my concern would be that when the jurors come in here and start hearing about the case or hearing testimony about the case, they'll hear the names Tylee and JJ, which obviously were more, there was more publicity about those than about Charles Vallow. And so I think if we really want to ensure that the jury is unbiased and has had no pretrial publicity with regards to the defendant, we're going to have to question them as to their knowledge of her other convictions out of Idaho. That was something that was just incredibly all over the media.
I agree, but I think that may happen in individual voir dire. This is this initial questionnaire, if they recognize the name Vallow or Daybell and they've been exposed to something in the media about it, they should tell us about what they know about it and about whether they know about that other case and whether they know about anything that happened to it, about it. So I anticipate losing a number of jurors just based on that. But I agree with you. Some may say they've been exposed to it, but it wouldn't affect their ability to be fair. And in individual voir dire, we can explore those options. I don't want to necessarily taint the whole pool by saying, hey, she's got these convictions in this other state.
And Your Honor, I don't propose we talk about the convictions, but we will hear the names JJ and Tylee in this trial. So that's my concern, is if we don't raise those names, whether or not we put them in the list as people that they may hear.
What I could do is on question 15, where it lists out my name, the court staff, I forgot, I need to include your name, the attorney's names, the advisory council's names in there. I'll add those. But at the bottom where it says other potential witnesses, I could do a third or another category that says other people that may be referenced but are not going to testify and list those names. That's fine. Is there any in addition to those two?
That would be the only for that. I think the other issue is, of course, the defendant's supplemental 15.2 names.
When was that filed? I haven't seen it.
I filed actually 2 motions to preclude them all and emailed them to your court Sunday.
Okay, maybe that's in my folder that's on my desk. Before we...
Defense filed that on the 12th of March.
Okay, before we get to that, let me ask the defendant. Other comments on the proposed questionnaire and the information that we're going to put in there?
I think it's
What's that?
pretty clear.
Okay, do you have any objection to listing Tylee and JJ because they will be mentioned?
No.
Okay. All right. Let's take a look here. Let me ask the state, you have 21 witnesses listed. I need to look at the defense witnesses that were listed. And we're after jury selection. I recognize jury selection could take longer than the initial week that I've set forth, but from April 7th to May 15th, the current screening, that is 20 full days of trial and 2 half days, so essentially 21 days of trial. Do you really think we need to screen that far out? I know you're being overly cautious.
I think, especially given that I'm not positive we'll pick a jury in that first week, I think we should, Your Honor.
All right. Defense have any comment on how we're screened through May 15th?
I think it's plenty of time, Your Honor, myself.
All right, let's deal with a couple things. First, I've received the notice of compliance. That was when the defendant requested the Gilbert video. Does that apply to the second case or this case?
Your Honor, it's an incident that occurred in January. It's not really, it was disclosed because it is mentioned in the DR. The defense had filed a motion for the state to disclose that, and then had brought up again on the 11th that the state had not disclosed it, that there was some YouTube video of that. I have looked for said YouTube video. I have gone through the police report. I don't know what video she's discussing, but we're not aware of any video that hasn't been disclosed. So I'm just providing notice that disclosure is complete as to that police report that is peripherally relevant.
All right. Any comment on that?
Yes, Your Honor. For clarity, is the state proposing that there is no video or that they don't have to give it to me because it's not attached to that DR number?
I think what she said was she's not aware of what video you referenced. So as far as her knowledge, she doesn't have it and doesn't know about it.
So I should go directly to Gilbert Police Department to get it?
Well, last time you were in court, you said your investigator or someone told you about it,
A mitigator
a mitigator.
showed it to me.
If they have that link, why don't they just send it to the state, and that may help the state determine if that's something they've already disclosed?
I will tell you why they won't, because that is my former team, and they will not do anything to help my investigator, my paralegal. They won't give us any information that they found. They won't talk to us at all because apparently there was a conflict. So they will not help us. They will not send us anything. They will not email us anything. They will not answer anything that we ask them to. So that has been the response from my former defense team. That's where we are.
All right. Do you know, and maybe your advisory councils can speak to this, did they turn over a file to you, or did you have to start from scratch?
No, from what I understand, all they turned over was the 22 terabyte hard drive, and that is it. They didn't turn on any notes, any work product, nothing that they had done to that point. Continue to stand by that today, even though a lot of that information I gave to them, they would not give it back to me.
All right, I'm going to make an order, and it'll be in the minute entry that they turn over a copy of their entire file, including any mitigation information that was gathered, to the advisory council. That makes Hicks, you look like you want to say something.
I don't know.
No, I'm good, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, so I'll do a more detailed order about, they should have turned over a copy of their entire file to advisory council when they withdrew. All right, so I've read the defendant's disclosures that were filed March 6th and March 12th, as well as the state's motion to preclude. And Well, let me start. Have you received any response from the defense, anyone from the defense team since you filed this on March 16th?
Your Honor, last night at 10:30 or so, defendant's investigator sent over a list of the addresses of the witnesses. I did speak with him this morning. I still am unclear if defense will be setting up those interviews or if they will be providing phone numbers to the state to set them up ourselves. As for the expert, again, last night at like 10:30 at night, defense investigator emailed the state and indicated that the defense expert would need to or wanted to obtain the physical laptops and cell phones that the police had impounded so that he could then review them, do his own Cellebrite or extractions. So obviously the expert hasn't even begun work, let alone, they've also requested all impounded items from law enforcement. I'm unclear if they're asking for ones that were impounded in Idaho as part of their investigation or just the ones here. The statements from the investigator appears to be all of them, which would mean the state would have to request Idaho to send those to the investigator. So again, given all of those issues, I don't see how that it would be possible for the state to provide that to the expert prior to this trial beginning, let alone to get a report or an opinion prior to this trial beginning.
All right, let's set aside Dworkin for the time being. So you're, well, let me ask the investigator. What's your name, sir?
Jeff.
Jeff what?
White.
Okay, Mr. White, are you going to be setting up interviews for the state to interview whatever potential witnesses the defendants noticed?
I'm trying to verify, excuse me, sir. I'm trying to verify the phone numbers to be correct. I do have a few of them, but some of them I'm trying to make sure that these are the correct numbers.
Okay.
I did the searches for them, and I have to apologize. I left yesterday, and for some odd reason, my email just did not go through. So,
Your Honor, my understanding is that the state has interviewed every single person on my witness list previously. That's where I got the people from the interviews that they had from the state previously. So I understand that they're allowed to do another interview of them, but they have interviews of every single person that is on my list, with the exception of one.
Which is who?
Which is Nate Eaton.
Okay. When you say the state's done the interview, do you mean police or someone from the prosecutor's office?
In discovery, I have interviews with police on every single one of the witnesses that are on my list.
Okay.
So I know that they had their addresses. I know that we were trying to get the addresses to them in the quickest way possible. And where I am at the jail, the communication is very difficult for me to get a hold of my investigator, to get a hold of my paralegal. I'm 23 hours a day locked down. If I don't have Wi-Fi, I don't have a phone. If I don't have battery, I don't have a phone. I don't have access to get to people. So I understand the time constraints, and we're doing the best that we can of getting things answered, getting things put together.
So as a threshold question, your assertion is that all these people that you've listed in your notices have relevant information for trial?
Correct.
And do you know if the police have interviewed these people?
Your Honor, the first listed person is a reporter. So I'm not really sure the relevance of a reporter.
He's the only one that hasn't been. So that's what I stated.
So, Your Honor, the point is to start with, one, these people, I'm not sure all of them actually have been interviewed. Those that have would have been interviewed 5 years ago. So whether or not their addresses are correct, unclear. It's not the state's responsibility for the defendant to do the defendant's work and find these people. I have an absolute right to do interviews just as the defendant does. So in terms of the witnesses, I think that most of them, as best I can guess, would be character evidence, which would be improper under 405. So depending on what they say, then I need to file motions to preclude or motions in limine for any or all of these witnesses.
All right, so it's premature to address these today. The state's going to have to interview them and find out if, in their opinion, they have relevant information or not. And then if there's a dispute as to whether or not they'd be called, I'll have to deal with that as it comes up. But if they're unable to be located or interviewed, obviously they won't be called at trial. Mr. Dworkin, if you want him to do extractions, you're not ready for trial. So in order for him to do the work that he's requesting, getting copies of a laptop or a cell phone or whatever the case may be, that's going to take him time to extract and analyze and then prepare a report, months maybe.
I understand that, Your Honor, and I'm hoping he can do it in an expedited manner. I requested him from OPDS on January 14th. He got approved on March 7th.
Well,
from OPDS.
You're the one pressing for your speedy trial, so you kind of have to make a decision on, we're set for trial, you want to go to trial or you want to have him do that work that you want? Because I don't think both are going to happen. Even if he got the laptops today, generally those types of things can take weeks, even months to analyze and prepare a report on.
I understand that, and I also understand that I've only been given 10 hours for him from OPDS, right? So if he could spend 10 hours this week getting them ready, then he can give us a report with the best that he can do.
Well, the report's already late technically, but if it were allowed, first of all, it's going to take time to coordinate him getting the, let's start here. Specifically, what are you requesting? Because the state wasn't clear whether you were requesting items here impounded by a particular police department or items that may be impounded in Idaho.
Well, I'm sure that my investigator would like to have all of those things done, and I realize that we're on a time constraint, and I would be only concerned with one item, which is at Chandler Police Department, which was Charles, my husband's phone, Charles Vallow's phone. And I would like a copy of the extraction that they took from it. The digital forensic extraction from Chandler Police could be given to him immediately. That would be very helpful.
Wasn't that already disclosed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Was that part of the initial terabyte?
Yes.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Everything that I have is on a 22 terabyte. So if hard drive. So if I give that away, I can't do my work.
Well, can't you make copies of files out of it?
22 terabytes.
I understand that.
Okay.
So what's your proposal?
I'll take it up.
I mean, if you have all that information in a file, I'm not saying you have to copy the whole 22 terabytes, but there's a file in there somewhere that's the Cellbrite extraction already for that requested item that's been in defense possession for however long now.
I'll take it up to morning.
So I'm happy to make an order, but again, if he's not done with that information you want, are you still wanting to proceed to trial at the end of this month?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, I would ask leave that depending on what Mr. Dworkin says, that
Well,
would put
it could
this,
still be precluded because depending on what his opinion is, first of all, it's late under the rules of evidence and rules of disclosure. And secondly, depending on what he says, the state would have to have an opportunity to consult with an expert as well. So even if he got something done, it could still be precluded, but I'll give him the opportunity to do whatever it is that you think he needs to do to analyze that. But that information's been in defense possession for months, if not over a year.
More than a year, Your Honor.
And he was just approved by OPDS last week, Your Honor.
I thought you said he was approved. You applied in January.
I applied for him in January and last Friday, he got approved.
Again, this is one of those things where you have to weigh your options on whether it's worth it to get a continuance so you can have your defense do the work that you want done on your defense. But if you're telling me you don't want to do that.
I would like to do that, but my situation in my housing department precludes me from doing that.
From asking for a continuance?
No, from getting things done in an effective and quick manner.
Okay. All right, well, so you're telling me you don't want a continuance because any information he has at this point could be precluded as being untimely.
I understand that is the rule, and I understand how unfair and prejudicial that would be to me.
Okay. So I guess I'm going to have to cross the bridge on whether these notice defense witnesses are even able to be located and interviewed before I make a decision on whether they have relevant information and can be called at trial.
Obviously, Your Honor, we have a little over a week to try to interview these people, so I will file something at the end of next week indicating who I've been able to reach and interview and ask to preclude everyone else.
All right.
They also obviously ask to preclude them regardless, based upon what they may say.
All right. What else do we need to address today then?
Your Honor, the only other motion that we did not address last week was the State 609 motion. I presume the defendant will likely testify, so I don't know if we wanted to address that now.
Are you prepared to address that now?
No.
I generally will, I guess I'll advise the defendant now that if you choose to testify, it's likely that the jury would hear about the convictions. But at your request, they could be sanitized, meaning that they would only hear about the fact that you have convictions as opposed to what the nature of the conviction are. But that would be up to you whether you want that information out or not. And then the jury would receive a limiting instruction that the existence of those convictions is only to be used for the purposes of determining credibility. So you should be aware of that when you make a decision on whether you want to testify or not. Oh, if you do want to testify, it will be question and answer, meaning you need to write out all your questions that you want to be asked and have one of your advisory counsels ask those questions to you when you're on the witness stand.
Right.
Okay, so you can't take the witness stand and just give a narrative. It'll be question and answer.
So am I supposed to reply to the 609? Is that what you're saying? And ask for it to be sanitized if I want that?
We can talk about that when we actually have a 609 hearing, but yeah, you can make that request orally. You don't have to do a written response. I indicated last time for your opening statement and closing argument and questioning witnesses that you'll pretty much be limited to the podium. We'll be in a different courtroom apparently for trial, but it'll be set up very similarly. Either your investigator or one of your advisory counsels will approach witnesses with exhibits if you have to show a witness an exhibit. So I'll have to do the same limitations on the state. The state would be confined pretty much to the area of the podium, and the state would have someone assist in approaching witnesses with exhibits and that sort of thing. All right.
I have some motions that I'd like to file. I've had a really hard time getting, my paralegal is very busy. I don't have copies.
All right, we'll make copies and give them to the state, and then we'll file them, and depending on what they are, I'll rule on them as the response and replies come in, or we may have to address them depending on what they are. So plan on that questionnaire going out. I think we said next Thursday, the 20th, will be sent out to potential jurors. for the first batch of jurors, and then the responses would be cut off on the 26th.
Judge is going to be sent out Monday the 24th and will end on Monday the 27th.
All right. And then I'll meet with the parties on the 31st to go over those remote responses. So that'll be the 31st at 10:30 a.m. Then again, I'll just reiterate on April 1. Are we having we're not having walk-ins, Izzy, until the 1st?
Right.
Okay, and then on the 1st, we will meet again, and for the rest of that week, we'll likely be meeting at 10:30 and continuing with jury selection every day until we get enough jurors. Hopefully we get enough the first week. If we have to, we'll go into the second week.
Yeah. Judge, I know that I'd given you a date that I was going to need to be dark on. I'm going to put out there, since I obviously don't know when we will get the jury picked. I do have some witnesses that are flying in, so I may have some days where I may need to end a little early or whatnot to try to accommodate some witness schedules. But I'll keep the court updated once we get a jury picked.
I think we'll have a good idea by about day 2 of jury selection whether we're going to need to go into the next week or not. That reminds me, though, is I would like the parties to plan on, we're going to have a much better idea after about the second week of trial and the first trial, how the second trial will unfold as far as how many jurors we might need. But I would like the parties to plan on doing another remote questionnaire with a much larger pool for the second trial and meeting on Friday, May 30th. I'm just giving you a heads up as far as this is concerned. And then for scheduling purposes, so everyone knows, I'm planning on probably going Monday through Friday of the week of June 2nd, as well as Monday through Friday the week of June 9th, to try to get as much done as we can. And then there's going to be some dark days there toward the end of June, but we need to get it done by July 4th.
Your Honor, when are you planning on starting that trial?
So jury selection would be starting May 30th. All right, anything else from the state for today? If you want to stick around, we'll get you copies of those motions.
I do. Your Honor, I guess the only other thing is, for the questionnaire, are we going to put in the defendant's 15.2 witness list?
I'll put in those names preliminarily. It doesn't hurt, just in case anyone is called from that list. And if anyone knows any of those people, I will put that in, actually. Anything else from the defense?
So I'm unclear on where we stand with the video that I requested.
The state says they don't know what video you're talking about. They've disclosed everything they have. So I'm going to make an order to your prior team to give you whatever that is. If you have a link in that information, you can forward it to the state so the state can see if that's something they've already disclosed or if that's something Gilbert didn't give them, or on the other hand, since it was told to you secondhand or showed to you secondhand, whether it's something different than what you thought it was. I don't know. So I'll make an order that they hand over all those things to you, so maybe you can figure that out. But at this point, the state says they've disclosed everything that they have and everything that they're aware of.
And in that order, they'll give it to my advisory council, or who?
Who do you want me to? I was going to say give it to your advisory council. Do you want a more narrowed order? Maybe any mitigation work that was collected, or do you want a broad order that's basically everything in their possession?
Well, it would be nice if they could turn over everything in their possession that we worked on.
I was just thinking
together.
it would be easier for you maybe to find that needle in a haystack if it was a more narrow order.
Well, she knows what the link is, and she could just give it to us, and we asked for her to do that, and
What's that?
the attorney said, no, she can't do that. She can't give you any.
What's that mitigator's name?
My mitigator's name? Pamela.
On your prior.
Pamela Kearney.
Do you know how do you spell Kearney?
Cerny.
All right, I'll make a specific reference to that.
And do we need an order, Your Honor, to pick up my husband's phone at Chandler Police so that Lonnie can do the extraction?
Well, you already have that extraction in your discovery. What's the state's position on Lonnie Dworkin meeting someone at, you said Chandler, right? Chandler
Yes, at
Police
Chandler
Department
Police
to do another extraction.
Your Honor, obviously the state and defense have always had stipulations so that should something happen to the device while it's in the possession of Mr. Dworkin, that there are now no issues with chain of custody or anything else. So the state would have to draw up a release, have that scheduled on who it's going to be picking it up, have the defendant sign that release indicating that she understands that should anything happen to that she waives those rights to claim those things. So
I think what I was asking was, does Mr. Dworkin have the ability to just do the extraction on site?
on site where? At Chandler?
At Chandler.
I don't think the police departments allow anyone to go in there and conduct their work in the police department.
Okay. All right, so to maintain the chain of custody, the state can draw up an agreement, and if the defendant signs that agreement, then Mr. Dworkin could pick up that phone.
That's perfect. Logistically, how's that going to happen?
She's gonna forward that to your investigator, and I guess he'll have to come down and have you sign it.
Okay.
All right, be at recess.
Recess may not be a good thing because then my mouth can run. Truth, we're going to have to disagree on this stuff, honey, and I'm not going to have any more of the conversation, sadistics and numbers and body language experts and all these things. Sadistic is sadistic. Killing your children, dismembering them, and burning them in a backyard is pretty fucking sadistic to me. I don't care what number some psychologist attaches to it. You know what I'm saying? It's bad. And if you are only interested in, horrific crimes like you're describing in your comments, and what we're presenting isn't up to par, I don't know what to tell you, because I will cover all kinds of cases here. How did they die? Then I guess you haven't followed the case close enough, but I'll tell you how they died. And let me put up my graphic warning sign. Let me change my sign. Because what this bitch and her husband, Chad, and her brother did to her children was absolutely sadistic, no matter how you look at it. And I don't need no psychologist or medical professional to tell me that. They were burned in Chad's backyard. They were dismembered in Chad's backyard and left there under the ground until they were finally found. She took off to Hawaii, never told a soul her kids were gone, had to be tracked down, court ordered to produce her children, all that stuff. Truth, I'm gonna be real honest with you right now. You want to say a lot of things in the comments section, and if I go to address them, you want to gaslight me if I'm saying something. I'm just telling you, I don't agree with you right now. So, I get some cases may interest you more than others, but to come in here and say, well, this case isn't up to par because it doesn't meet a 16 number is ridiculous, honey, for the rest of us who do want to watch it and are interested. So I'm questioning why you're even interested in some of these cases if they don't meet your number standards. I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm trying to have an actual conversation, and it's hard when we're just typing to each other. So, I've read all your comments. So that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm saying it because I don't believe a number needs to be attached to Lori for someone to think she's sadistic. And I don't watch body language experts. I know a lot about Dr. Ricardo's work and all these things. I might take it into consideration at times, but I don't pay attention to a lot of that external stuff because I touch my face all the time. If they saw my body language, oh my God, they're going to read into so much there that's not there. Do you know what I'm saying? I understand you said for you. I get it. I didn't say that. I said for me. I came into it like and leave and then got a conversation into it. You began to you said you were going to come in and leave, but then you began to put all the comments in about the numbers and, it's just not on your scale because the number's not there. But to the rest of us, that number doesn't matter. What Lori did to her children was horrific. What she did to Charles was also horrific. And so I don't decide what cases I cover based on some number or some doctor told me I should look at. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But for you to come in here and act like she's not sadistic enough, that's troubling to me. That's all I'm saying. That's odd. Because any woman who unalives her own children, I think that's as sadistic as they come. I mean, I don't know if you can get more evil than that. I get the men torturing people with all their weapons and, chain people up in houses for years. Hell, I got a story to present soon where we just found out a man was held captive. He's 32 now. Been held captive all these years in a locked up room by his stepmother. The man weighed 68 pounds. He had to start a house fire to get attention drawn to the house for someone to come and save him. Finally. That was sadistic to lock up that dude for that long, I didn't think you were being rude because you wanted to leave, but you didn't leave, honey. You stuck around, you kept talking. So I just started talking back. That's me. I talk too. You guys want to stick around and chat and you say things, I'm going to respond to those things and question you and try to have a conversation about it. We get it. Lori doesn't meet your standard on the whatever scale, so you're not interested. Now, I'm not being rude either. I'm just saying, then why are, why are you here? And, I don't think everybody else agrees with you that Lori needs to have a 16 number for us to think she's sadistic enough to cover. That's all I'm saying. Like, do you, girl, do you, like you always do. You're good. So I guess they're on a damn short recess here. I'm just going to have to start overlooking some of the stuff said. Yeah, I know. I saw that. And she asked you, and y'all clarified it, and she looked it up, and and so did I, actually, right here on the side as I was watching all of that. But we, like you said, if we decide to do a show about that later, we will. But right now, I just, I get it. I'm not arguing with you. The truth is truth. You did come in and say this case was not up to par for you or not interesting enough to you because she didn't meet a 16 on somebody's scale. Okay, we get it. End of conversation. I'm not having it anymore. Anyway, thank you guys for joining who do want to see Lori get what she deserves for what she's done to so many people. Let's not forget about Tammy Daybell, Lori's brother, Lori's dead husband, and her children. All these bodies in her wake, and she doesn't meet a 16, so we shouldn't be interested. I just don't buy it. Sorry. We've got to agree to disagree on it. That's all. That is all. I don't know how long this court
room or some aerial view that she brought up in the last hearing. So we'll see what happens with that. The judge says he will order the former defense team to basically turn over a file, an actual file that they should have. Now, also witnesses that have been noticed by the defense. They include family members, but they also include our friend Nate Eaton with East Idaho News. And the question is, why does she want Nate Eaton on this list? The prosecutor is a little bit confused.
I'm not putting words in your mouth, Truth, and I'm not in the mood right now. I get what you said. I just said it. I understand what you were saying. But apparently, I didn't say you didn't say the show wasn't up to par, but today's topic isn't up to par to you. Remember? You said that yourself, so I'm not putting words in your mouth, honey. I'm going to go scroll right back through all the comments, and I think everybody can see exactly what you've said. So I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm just restating what you've stated, you know. So if the show's not up to par because Lori doesn't meet a 16, there's going to be a lot of stuff we cover here that doesn't meet your standards then. And I'm just saying, that's all. I'm not going to argue about it with you, and I don't care anymore about it. I'm not putting words in your mouth. I looked up your little Dr. Stone's most evil scale, and it means nothing to me, honestly. I don't need a doctor to tell me this bitch is evil or not. I didn't say you didn't say this. Oh, Lord. Again, I'm not arguing with you. I understand you're not saying this show wasn't up to par, but apparently today's topic isn't. Because you came in and said you only stopped by to say hi and you were leaving because Lori wasn't sadistic enough for you to watch. And that's exactly what you said in the comments. I'm not making that up. It's like for real. Let me go find it. I'm not that creator. I'm not going to sit here and argue with people. I'm done. I done told y'all at the top of this show, if you were listening and in here, I've done a lot of soul searching and thinking. I'm going to do things my way on my channel. And if you don't like it, you don't have to be here. Bottom line. You start saying things, I'm going to start commenting to your stuff because I'm not that creator that ignores my chat the entire time it's rolling. There's too many of those out there. Way too many of that going on. Yeah, I don't know how she's getting her hair colored, but they do allow stylists to come into the jails for haircuts. I don't know. Maybe her shit's just all growing out all crazy. Maybe it's just her natural bullshit. She's done so much to it that it just won't go away.
Confused. Luckily, I'm not on the list. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but obviously that's another interesting note there.
Yeah, it's interesting because, first of all, and I think the elephant in the room is it's rare, at least in a high-profile case like this, for a defendant to represent themselves. So, I think the rules around a trial, they change a little bit when you have someone who is clearly not an attorney, has never tried a case, and now, this individual, Lori, is trying to defend herself in court. So no matter who she calls, it'll be interesting to see how they teach her to approach each witness, and what she's trying to get out of them to help her defense. I think that some of the witnesses will see standard issue prosecutor's defense. A lot of the questions will be the same. I am curious to see how she's going to approach Nate, what the line of questioning will be, what the relevance is for his role in all of this, because Nate only started. Nate's involvement came after all of this, right? We're talking about a case 2019 that kind of set the wheels in motion for this entire saga.
Right at the start of the year.
Right. And so Nate came in much later than some of us did. So I am curious to see what she's going to ask him, and what the judge allows her.
Truth. Stop it. Like, for real, we put up with a lot in here, and a lot of the comments I just highlighted where you said this story wasn't something you were interested in, but you're still here. And I said the word not up to par. I said I apologize if the stream's not up to par to you today because she didn't meet your number, so it's therefore not interesting to you, but you're still here.
To either get out of him or some of these other witnesses, because again, as I said, you've got an individual who clearly is new to all of this. It looks like she's got some support, but again, you have to be very careful, especially in the eyes of a jury, how you approach every witness. and the questions you asked them.
We started covering this in December 2019. So did East Idaho News, who she's noticing as a witness. But obviously there was so much to uncover from the Chandler case, and then Nate's involvement comes in as he confronts her in Hawaii. We've all seen that video of confronting her and Chad Daybell as they're walking back to their hotel from the beach, asking, "Where are your kids?" Now, here's the big question. Will she testify? And that was brought up today. If you want to take the witness stand on your behalf, you're going to have to write out your own questions since you're representing yourself, and your advisory council will ask those questions. Does Lori Vallow Daybell put herself in the hot seat where she will be cross-examined for the first time? And I'm sure everyone's been waiting to see.
Well, and you and I have noticed, we've seen her on body camera. We've seen her in interrogation rooms. She obviously chose not to testify or speak on her behalf in her previous trials. Again, very rare for a defendant to represent themselves, even more rare for them to put themselves on the stand in their own defense. And again, I don't think I've ever seen this where they've written out questions for themselves. I am curious to see, again, does she do it? And what questions are there going to be? And then, of course, again, there's the cross-examination phase, which, we have talked about too. There aren't many people that have gotten the opportunity to ask her questions about any of this. In fact, it's only happened a few times.
Exactly.
So this will be, I think, if this happens, this will be a unique window, or look into who she is and what she is claiming in her defense in this case.
This will be huge because people want real answers, and you can't really escape them when they're coming from a prosecutor on the other side. When it comes to cross-examination in the first trial in Idaho, she was quiet. We didn't hear one thing from her, and it was clear she was not happy with her defense. There was not one witness called. She didn't testify. The only real, I guess you could sort of call it a testimony that they somehow brought in as evidence was from a
Truth, I didn't take it wrong. I saw the conversation you were having with Dolphin. She asked you the same question that I wondered. I made a note on the side to look it up after this because I'm trying to focus on the hearing. I get not everybody's into the hearing or even cares about it. I'm trying to watch the hearing or I wouldn't even be airing it. So you and Dolphin can have your discussion. That's fine. But I'm just telling you, I don't need a number to tell me this, about this woman. And you plainly said you weren't interested in this case. But y'all settled your to talk about this Dr. Stone's most evil scale. That's great. Have at it. You just stop. Please stop. So I think right now we're both taking things the wrong way. But I can see every single one of your comments, and I've tried to address them. But I'm done with it now. So carry on.
Video recording where she talked about her love for Jesus Christ and her religion, and her defense basically painted her as she's just this super spiritual religious lady that was influenced by Chad Daybell. Throw Chad Daybell on the bus. Her sentencing, she doubles down. She says that, no murders happened to her children. Tammy Daybell wasn't murdered. And now she's done a Dateline interview where you didn't get a lot from that as far as like, did you do this to your children? Did you harm Charles Vallow? I mean, so I don't know if she would be, I don't know if that'd be a good move to put her own self on the stand.
Well, and the judge made it a point to, point out the fact that if she chooses to do this, it's going to be nearly impossible for the jury not to hear about what happened to JJ and Tylee in some fashion. And again, there was a lot of talk at the beginning of all of this, whether, they wanted to kind of separate those cases. And you can understand why. But the judge was very poignant this morning to say, look, there is a real possibility that if you do this, you're opening that door for the jury to be exposed, if they haven't already been exposed to that they could be, exposed to those cases.
It will be mentioned they cannot escape that the conviction happened, and they won't get into all the evidence. But just like in the Idaho trial, they opened that door for all the Arizona evidence to come in to provide a context to the motivations that happened for the triple murders in Idaho. So we got a sample size and got to see a lot of the evidence via Charles Vallow's text messages, his emails in that case. So we're going to see it here. And we're talking about 22 terabytes of evidence. I mean, the text messages, you read some bizarre messages between Lori Vallow Daybell and her then boyfriend, Chad Daybell, into her inner circle, talking about how Charles Vallow is somebody named Ned Schneider or Hiplos, and how they're going to work on him and do these energy I don't even know what you call it, but she had an inner circle there, including witnesses that testified. Zulema Pastenes, Melanie Gibb. I would assume that they'd be on the witness list for the state in this case as well to talk about the motivations and identifying Charles Vallow as this dark spirit and zombie. And there's text messages on the life insurance policy. It is
Sure.
all there. We have that.
You have to, and I think, again, you have to establish a motive. And as we saw in the Idaho trials, very Arizona heavy, or, you know, we saw how much of the Arizona cases were brought up there, the investigators, but also how religion played a role. We explained that in our coverage in the beginning. And I think for the state, that's important to provide some sort of motive for that. And again, you know, if you watch the body camera video of Charles, he alludes to a lot of this. But for him, his method of thinking was like, look, this is a mental illness, or this is, you know, this is a concern for not only the children, but himself. And in the end, I think the state, it's like the elephant in the room in this case, that she was clearly driven by her religion. She talked about it a lot in the Dateline interview. I'm almost guessing she's going to talk a lot about that, or at least try to. In
She
this
believes
case.
she'll be exonerated
Right.
in everything, and that, you know, there were no crimes that were committed. But she's gonna have to go with the self-defense theory, because that's how this whole case started, and why you could argue that Chandler PD didn't do anything in the beginning, and she was allowed, her and Alex, to move to Idaho, and then just within a couple weeks murders her kids.
Yeah.
The self-defense theory that Alex Cox was hit in the back of the head with a baseball bat, a metal baseball bat, by a former baseball player in Charles Vallow after a fight. And he had been in that home for maybe 15 minutes. He gets there in Chandler 7:35 to pick up JJ, and this all goes down, and he's shot twice. And what does Lori Vallow Daybell do? We all know the story.
Yeah.
Burger King, Walgreens takes JJ to school in Charles's rental car. There's surveillance video of all that. And a whole
Exactly. All
trace.
documented. The body camera video. We already know that she wants Tylee's, you know, interview on that to be excluded. Like, all of this has been documented. It's rare when you have a case like this where you have, again, this much video evidence. We know the timeline. We know where she was. We know where the kids were. Again, all of it's going to come into play. But I think that for someone like Lori, any lawyer, but Lori specifically, this is going to be interesting to see how they approach it, and what she objects to, because again, she may try and object to a lot of this. And it'd be interesting to see, you know, how the judge handles a lot of
Yeah,
that.
what has she learned while behind bars studying case law? I mean, for any veteran criminal defense attorney, I think this is a tough case to defend in just murder conspiracy. First degree murder, I don't know, she obviously didn't pull the trigger here, but she did not call 911. And we know it took Alex Cox 43 minutes to call 911. There was no CPR done, and you have all the text messages on a possible motive that, you know, prosecutors are going to lay out, and how they basically knew things were going to come to a head that day. Just so much had gone down. So that's why prosecutors believe this is going to take 6 weeks. They even said that it would be shorter if they were probably dealing with the criminal defense attorney, but she's not. So we're going to see some holdups as she tries to defend herself. And let's talk about trial number 2 after that. We've got a whole season. We're going into summer with this saga.
Right. And the judge alluded to that to the end, at the end of the proceeding today, gave timelines of when they would like to start jury selection for the second trial.
May 30th.
Right.
Yeah.
They did point out the fact that he wants a much larger pool for the second trial. Understandable, because again, you will have the coverage of the first trial so close to this one. But he also said that he would like to have all of this wrapped up by July 4th. You know, a valiant effort, and you know, we'll see if that comes to fruition. But you know, it is very unique circumstance when you have a defendant like this, 2 trials right back to back.
Yeah, well, she
Same
wants
county.
them done, even though it appears she doesn't have her own expert witness equipped with what he needs to analyze.
Yeah.
So we're about to wrap up in a little bit, but if you want to take a look and see if there are any questions from the chat box. But just to explain to you guys, as you saw, I was tweeting about the coverage in the courtroom. I did not mean to say live, but we'll be streaming it to you as it's happening here. So it's like we're in 2 universes. Just want to be transparent. There's a 30-minute delay, and that's all on public record, ordered by the court that we're not supposed to distribute until 30 minutes after. Now that we're doing that, we'll be talking about this.
Okay, hang on, guys. Let me check something. Sorry. Okay, let me get back to it. Oh, wrong thing. Ha ha. Looks like they're still on a break, guys. Hold on one second.
We got rid of Ned. We got rid of the dark spirit that she says is Charles Vallow. And so all of this evidence is out there. Another good point, the judge is rotating out of this division in June. So what's that going to look like? Is he only going to preside over this trial? And this judge has been very fair, I believe. And we have a camera in the courtroom, and we've been able to be there for everything. And he knows that this is a high-profile case, and he understands she has the right to represent herself. And even sometimes he's laying out alternatives for her and kind of like, well, if you do this, this is what's going to happen. Do you want to start this trial? You're pressing for a speedy trial. So for any judge that might step into the next one, this is a lot. It's a lot.
It is, and we've already seen her demeanor in the last couple of weeks in these hearings. I can only imagine that's going to be magnified when the trial starts.
Okay, so before we go, follow me on X at JLumFox10. I will be.
Now remember, after Lori is done with this trial, she has to face conspiracy to commit murder against her niece's husband, Brandon. And that trial hasn't been set yet. They're waiting on this one to get done. All right. See you later, Butterfly. Thanks for stopping in. You know I appreciate you a whole lot. Let me pull this down and make sure I can get that. I want to get a refresh screen going. I don't know why they made them wait on a 30-minute delay like they did. That's crazy. Oh. Ooh. Whoa. Something just started playing in my ear and it kind of startled me. I was like, what the heck? Where'd that come from? Okay, they're still on a break, but I was just checking to make sure. I'm checking a couple of different places too, so we don't miss it when it comes back on. Whoops. Okay.
And you join us here. So subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the bell so you get
You're
notifications.
talking about getting ready for
And be
trial.
standing
Trial
by
is
just like you
coming
were
up. This is
today.
the last
We
hearing
appreciate
before
you
that.
for joining us for coverage of the Lori Vallow Daybell saga.
I'm assuming they're going to come back on with the second half of this. Let me text Joe real quick and see if I can get some updates. Shouldn't take long for a recess, right? Like usually it's like time to go to the bathroom, whatever, and then you come back. They didn't break for lunch or anything. Yeah, V. Okay, so with the teachings that she and Chad were following and putting out there into the universe, they believed her children had been overtaken by zombies and therefore labeled dark. And once that, then they had a percentage they went by as to when they needed to be taken out, basically. Because once that zombie entered their body, they were no longer there. It was a zombie. And then so that is what the claim is behind unaliving her children. But of course, in Lori's eyes, they were not unalived because they were never in their bodies when they died. And then with Charles, they labeled him as having an evil spirit come into him. They called Ned. But when it came to physically doing the deeds, Lori didn't, right? She is charged with murder in Idaho because of the evidence found at the scene of where her children were found. Her DNA was found at that scene. So that got her convicted on murder in Idaho. And over here in Arizona, she's charged with conspiracy to commit the murder of her husband because he was actually shot and killed by her brother. But then he claimed it was self-defense. So then as the investigation unfolded and they, downloads of phones and communications, they could clearly see that Lori and her brother were working to conspire to kill Charles. And it's the same thing over in the Brandon Boudreaux case. And Brandon was the niece of Lori's, or the husband of Lori's niece. So his trial comes up next. Now, he's not unalived. There was an attempt made on his life. So it's a conspiracy to commit over there. And over here it is also a conspiracy charge on both cases. And these two cases are being held in Arizona. And we know that the first trial was held in Idaho for her children's deaths. And then she was immediately, once that was done in Idaho, then she was extradited over to Arizona to face the charges there. Lori's not getting out of jail ever. She didn't get the death penalty in Idaho because of prosecution sanctions for failure to disclose discovery on time. And her brother cannot go to trial, V, because he is no longer with us. Can you imagine that? Look at all the people gone in Lori's life. Nope, Alex was, His death officially was ruled natural, but there's a lot of speculation behind that, obviously. Joe's been trying to present stuff on the case, but I've been following the case from the time the kids went missing, so I do plan to put a good backstory together before we head into trial for everybody to get caught up on it, because I think there's a lot of left out information sometimes, because right now there's some other things being focused on with Lori and the LDS and stuff like that, but the actual backstory leading up to what happened needs to be told before we go to trial. And yeah, we're going to get cameras, so I want to cover this trial as well. But yeah, Alex Cox was her brother, and he's the one who unalived Charles, claiming self-defense. And then I don't have my note handy to let you know exactly when Alex departed this earth, but yeah, he's not here to even testify or anything. Crazy, right? Crazy that you get the person who did that is now no longer with us. And so I guess Lori thought, if he's no longer with us, and then nothing can happen to me, but she was wrong. No, the stepson called 911. What stepson, baby? No, when Charles Vallow was unalived that morning, Lori was there with her brother and her 2 children. And she took the kids and left the house. They took JJ to Burger King, and then they went on to school to drop JJ off in Charles's vehicle while he lay dead in the house. Then she comes back to the scene, her and Tylee. Her brother called 911 and told them that 41 minutes later, mind you, that he had just unalived Charles Vallow in a self-defense situation. Maybe it was the stepson that called, because he'd only been married to, did Zulema have a child, V? Because that's who he was married to, right? What 3 weeks, I think, they had been married? So maybe that's what you're talking about, the stepson called 911 in that case for Alex? Okay, I didn't realize Zulema had a child. I did not know that. Let me pull the, I haven't heard back from Joe yet. I just asked, did they resume court after a recess, and he hasn't responded yet. If they don't bring the rest of this hearing back up soon, I'm going to go because my kid is here, and then I will come back. I am going to come back later today for a stream for some other stuff as well. Let me get it, see if it refreshes here. Okay, Joe says they have not come back after recess yet. So we can take a look at some things in the meantime if you guys are interested. Let's look at this. This was something that Nate Eaton just put out a couple days ago. And for those of you who don't know, Lori has him listed on her defense witness list. The man who tracked you down to Hawaii to find you, to ask you where your children were, is now on your defense list. Isn't that crazy? Yes, you're right, B. Thanks for refreshing my memory. Alex was on the bathroom floor dying when the kid called. Oh, did you hear that over on Joe's channel? I can't remember. We've reviewed so much, right? Okay, let's play this while we're waiting. Let's see what happens. I'm going to hit the wrong button again.
This is the home behind me where Charles Vallow was shot and killed back in July of 2019. Beautiful house in a nice neighborhood in Chandler. At 7:33 that morning, Charles texted Lori, and then police say that his device was here at the house at 7:50. So 17 minutes later, his device was here at the house. And then for nearly 40 minutes, the device left the home. It was not here. And I'm going to take you kind of on a drive to show you the movements, according to police, that Lori Vallow went on with Charles Vallow's device, allegedly that morning, where that device ended up before it ended up back here at the house. Now at 7:52 that morning, there was a voice call between Alex and Lori. We don't know what was discussed during that call. It seemed to be relatively short because Lori stopped at a fast food restaurant. 2 minutes after that phone call, Lori went through the drive-thru here at this Burger King around 7:54 a.m. Charles's device was pinged here at the restaurant around 7:55 a.m. So they were here for just a few minutes. Lori ordered some chicken nuggets, some chicken fries, according to a receipt that we have, some Sprite, and a bottle of water. Think about it. While she's here getting that food, back at the house, about 5-6 minutes away, according to my driving records, Charles was dying, and Alex was there with him. Lori was here with Tylee and JJ, and then they left the fast food restaurant and did one more stop before taking JJ to school. Charles's device arrived at Walgreens at 8:16 in the morning. Surveillance footage captured Lori purchasing a pair of flip-flops. She was here for about 4 minutes. She then left the Walgreens around 8:20 in the morning. Charles's device arrives here at JJ's school at 8.
Isn't that weird? Going in there, what was she purchasing damn flip-flops for at that time of morning, knowing what was happening back at your house?
32. 4 minutes later at 8:36, that's when Alex Cox, back at the house, calls 911 to report that he has shot his brother-in-law.
I'm in police in an ambulance.
What's the emergency there?
I got in a fight with my brother-in-law and I shot him in self-defense.
Okay, let me get the medics on the phone. And is he hurt or is he alive or?
Yeah, there's blood. He's not moving.
How long ago did this happen?
A couple of minutes.
And at 8:49, the device ended up back here at the house. Of course, we have seen that police body camera footage with Lori Vallow talking to the officers, with Alex Cox on the side of the road dabbing his head, saying he had been hit with a baseball bat. And then Lori and Alex and Tylee were taken to the police station for questioning. And here we are 5 years later, awaiting Lori Vallow's trial.
So is she in there?
Guys, I heard back from Joe. Hold on one second. Let me get some of my drink. Sorry. Okay, according to Joe, it's over and done with. So when he gets back home in a little while, I think he may be going live, and we can review the hearing again because there's things I missed. Unfortunately, my mods are tied up right now, so I'm modding my channel. Anyway, when Joe does get back home later and I get up with him, he will probably do a live on his show, or his channel rather, and go over the hearing again. For those of you who are interested and want to join that conversation, you know where to find Joe. Let me get his link in here just in case. If there's anybody new listening or just joining us for the first time, and I apologize if you are joining us for the first time because, let me get Joe's channel pulled up here. Like, I'm honest to a fault sometimes, and it may not come out right, and I apologize for it, but it is what it is. A lot of times, some of the things y'all say don't come out right. Not in a typing situation. Wow, why can't it share? There we go. Get my link here. It's like sometimes there's just too much stuff to press. Okay, here we go. There's the link to Joe's channel if you guys want to go sub up and pay attention, get your notifications on, because I don't know what time he'll get back over. He's not too far from where the court hearing was held, so when he gets back home, and I'll confer with him and see what he's got planned. I was about to ask y'all what day it is. It's a Tuesday. I don't ever look at clocks and calendars too often. I will be back on later on this evening, doing a stream. There are some things I'm working on, and there's a couple of things outside of the normal true crime stuff that I'm working on as well. Some cases I want to present, so I'm going to be super busy trying to get stuff together with that, and I'm having some meetings and this and that and the other, trying to get all this coordinated that I want to do. So I'll be doing that in the meantime. I'm going to go visit with my kid for a little while because I haven't seen him in a minute. He's busy 18 and working and all that good stuff. And so I'm going to go chill with them for a little bit, and then we'll meet back up over on Joe's channel later to get the recap of the case, the hearing, and then I will be streaming again sometime later on this evening at some point, and I will let you guys know when. So keep your notifications on and turned on and all the good stuff. If you don't mind, hit the like button, please. It helps out, helps the channel out, helps channel grow, it helps get the stream into the algorithm so people can see the hearing. Not because I want to be seen, the content needs to be seen. So again, thank you all for your support and for being here to watch the hearing with us. And we'll continue as it progresses. I think that this was the final hearing, so we are set up for trial now. Yeah, good old Joe, right? He's been on it. He's great at boots on the ground lately. And I know that he is going to be there covering the entire trial. We spoke about that last night, what the plans were for that. So we will be looking forward to that. Thank you, V. It's hard to get your 18-year-old to come home and want to hang out with mom for a while, right? And he brought his girlfriend over today for the first time. So I'm going to go check her out and meet her. She's really pretty. And so far I like her. So I'm going to go do just that, enjoy my kiddos for a little while. Let's see, whoops. Oh, right. Well, thank you for being here as usual, and you're so welcome. Maybe she had blood on her original flip-flops. I wondered, so Joy, what's the point of buying the flip-flops, right? So it's got to be something to do with something like that. That's what I was wondering as well. It's an odd thing to stop and purchase, wasn't it? After getting breakfast for your kid and taking him to school, and before you headed back to the scene. It was a very odd purchase of all the things. Like, I'd have bought me some damn Tylenol or something. Like, I'm going to have a big old headache. But anyway, that's Lori for you. I don't think she cared either way. I don't think things fazed her the way they would the normal people. I'm not on no 16 scale. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go for the afternoon. I do appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us while we covered the hearing. And like I said, we will see you again soon. Turn those notifications on.
Thank you all for watching this here video.